Now will we see the magic?
All right, where's Murray? Okay, who is it?
This is Jesus, kid.
Know then that it is the year 10,191.
Yes, we are bored. We're all bored now.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Hello, and welcome to Mary vs. the Movies with your host, Mary Jones.
And I'm Dennis Ling.
And I'm just going to treat that like a normal opening.
Thank you.
All right. New year, right?
Mhm.
New show. When you watch television, right, to watch the ball drop in New York City, because we live on the East Coast of the United States, we usually, we might be at a friend's house, but, they'll put on, was it Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve starring Ryan Seacrest, which is the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse of TV shows.
We usually switch between that and, what's the one, Anderson Cooper?
Yeah,
and
basically,
the other guy that's not Kathy Griffin.
it's like wherever we are,
Yeah.
whoever, we are not in charge of the television. But
a lot of times the sound is usually off, so
yeah.
it's kind of seeing it in the background.
Yeah, we're basically just there to watch what's usually at least 30-second delay of watching the ball drop. So we don't even get to see it happen live.
But there are a lot of people just drinking on camera. And, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant at the party.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
I mean...
well, that too. If you have the sound on,
Mm-hmm.
which, sometimes happens, they play Auld Lang Syne,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that started with Guy Lombardo. Started playing Auld Lang Syne, and so you go back to like 1920 or something like that, as the New Year song, and then usually on that broadcast, because it's New York City and it's Times Square, which I would never want to be in on New Year's Eve. That sounds dreadful, but I always watch it. The song they always play after that is "New York, New York," the Frank Sinatra singing, start spreading the news.
Yep.
Yeah, all that stuff. So here's what I didn't know, because I've heard that song since I was a kid, and I associate it actually with like New Year's Eve and all that stuff, right? Here's what I did not know until fairly recently. That comes from a musical. A failed musical. A failed musical from the people who made Cabaret and Chicago. So Cantor and Ebb. There was a film made of this. Now, I have seen the film of Cabaret many, many times. Favorite film. Not my absolute favorite film, but it is a favorite film and a favorite musical. I've watched Chicago. I like Chicago. Not everybody does. I like Chicago. It's a very fun, and I kind of like that movie. It's not the best movie musical ever, but I enjoy it. I like the show more. I've never seen New York, New York. Now, do you know who made New York, New York?
Scorsese?
Right.
Yeah.
Can you picture this? Do you know who's in New York, New York?
De Niro?
Yes. Do you know who else is in it?
Lady Gaga.
What?
Sorry.
No, Liza Minnelli.
Oh, okay. The Lady Gaga of her time.
So here's the thing. Scorsese's one of my favorite filmmakers, but I'm not a completist of anybody, honestly. So there are still films of his I've never seen. And this is definitely a film of his I have not seen it, because this is apparently not a good film.
What year is this? 79?
78, 79,
yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, maybe 80. I'm not. It's like kind of in that. It's before Raging Bull.
So a little bit before Arthur.
Yeah, it is.
Where we last saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well after Cabaret. You think about all these elements. This sounds like it could be good, right? It's and I've seen not even clips, just stills.
So wait, when is it set? What's it about?
I believe
I don't know anything.
What as far as I know what this film is, and I really don't know anything about it, but I was watching the Mr. Scorsese docuseries on Apple, and they get into this and how it was a huge failure, and how originally it was supposed to be a 4-hour film that was brilliant and amazing, and then the studio made him cut it to 2.5 hours, and it sucks. And so what I think this is set right after the Second World War.
Okay.
In New York, and he is a jazz musician, and I think she is a singer, and they're both trying to make it there, because then they'll make it anywhere.
Yeah, and it doesn't sleep.
No,
Nobody sleeps.
No, never. Cocaine helps, but it's one of so it's a Kander and Ebb musical. It's like what they call a dark musical in that sense. It's those 1970s unhappy things. You know, think about it, like Cabaret is about Nazis, and well, it's actually a little bit more complex than to just say Nazis, but essentially it's about Nazis.
Yeah.
And Chicago is about women locked up for murdering guys, and you know, it's you know, dark subjects. It's the time period. You know, Sondheim was doing that stuff. He was doing Sweeney Todd, and then you got, you know, there's all kinds of stuff, right? This is of that era. I believe it's about a relationship that starts off and falls apart as they both want different things, and I'm sure he is not very nice because it is being played by De Niro.
Yeah.
And this is like prime De Niro of the Raging Bull era, of, you know, Taxi Driver, of all of that.
Is Joe Pesci in this?
No.
Oh,
No, he's not.
I was hoping for a song.
Oh, the irony, as Pesci did start off as a musician. You knew that, right?
No, I had no idea.
He played in a band. I'm trying to think of what they were called, but they played at the Peppermint Lounge, which was this mob-controlled lounge in New York City, but it was very, very popular, and they would, you know, he was basically like the bassist or something, I think, and they would play like all the popular hits. Anyway, there's a song called the Peppermint Twist, which is this band did, although he is not on that record. It's named for the Peppermint Lounge, and
I feel like, was that in 500 Songs?
it was in 500 Songs, yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
But I knew that before I heard that episode. But anyway, so yeah, this is 1940s post-war New York City. Basically the place, if I had a time machine, I would go. I have a feeling it's much like Pennies from Heaven was a very depressing musical, which I thought was fantastic. I have a feeling this is going to be a very depressing musical. And I don't know if it's going to be good just because it's not even like it's gotten critically reevaluated the way other films that from the time period that were seen as failures have been reevaluated. You know, I think people hold something like One from the Heart, the Coppola movie, in higher regard now than they used to. I don't think this has had that kind of a reappraisal at all. But that makes it even more interesting to me because here's all these things that I should love. I should be all in on this. This feels like it's made for me. Me, Mary Jones.
You.
Yeah. I hear it's bad. I hear it's not good at all. And so it's not even streaming. It's not on streaming. I had to get this through extra legal means.
What?
I know. So sad. I'm going to jail.
So, De Niro is singing?
I don't know. I can't
I'm
picture
a little
that.
worried about that.
Yeah. I can't picture him.
That's the thing with Cabaret. Like yes, it has Liza Minnelli, and she's great.
Yeah.
But it also has Joel Grey, and he's amazing. Whatever he's doing is like a completely different dimension than what, you know, the rest of the movie's doing. It's like,
yeah,
you just can't take your eyes off of him.
Having said that, you know, I kind of miss when we had this idea of De Niro as a much more versatile actor than he's been for a long time.
Yeah.
And really that starts in the 90s where it really falls off. You know, Analyze This and all that stuff, and Meet the Fockers, and like just garbage films.
Is there a movie called The River?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he plays a missionary somewhere.
No, that does sound familiar. That might be good, actually.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's the thing. Like, De Niro, even when people think about him as, oh, he does like gangster movies with Scorsese, I'm like, okay, first of all, no, there's like, that's 2 movies. That's actually 3 now with The Irishman. But The Irishman is so interesting, and it's actually a great performance, even though I don't like the de-aging stuff. Like, that stuff looks terrible. And he's great in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, but this is De Niro back in that era when, I mean, he really is just a force of nature as an actor. If you haven't watched Taxi Driver in a long time, you know, and granted, that movie's not for everybody, but his performance is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and the same thing with Raging Bull. His performance is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. He is truly a brutal personality in that, and like, it's just mesmerizing to watch, right? Again, you know, because I'm going back specifically to Scorsese films, but like, go back and rewatch King of Comedy, and he's amazing in that.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different thing entirely from the other 2 movies I just mentioned. It's so strange and silly and still scary, but in a very different way.
I think for him, I feel like Heat like solidified who people think of him. He's a criminal guy or something like.
Yeah, I think you're true. That's absolutely true. Much more than Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Because his performance in Goodfellas is so much more interesting than that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's basically Heat. Everybody falls in love with Heat.
Like I think Heat was just so iconic and designed to be iconic.
Yeah.
And to have like the two famous gangsters face off against each other as cop and gangster.
No, I mean I get it. Don't get me wrong. And of course, look. How many times have I seen Godfather Part 2 and they never cross paths because they can't? But so yes, finally they come together on screen, and then they don't do that again until what movie? The Irishman.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ! You saw it with me in the theater.
I was kind of trying to think of like, was it Spice World?
Was it Spice World? I don't know, Dennis. Was it Spice World?
I saw it, but I don't remember if they meet in that. Maybe they do. I don't know. Anyway,
what are your thoughts on New York, New York? Before we watch it,
so at the time, had Scorsese done period pieces at all?
Yeah, I mean, Boxcar Bertha again, not necessarily a good movie, but that's set in the Great Depression. I'm trying to think what he hadn't made Raging Bull yet.
Because I feel like Scorsese's someone that likes to try new things. He likes to try stuff. Especially around this part of his career, like he seemed like he was determined to do new things. Like he didn't want to get pigeonholed.
It's funny you ask though, because now everything he does is a period piece.
Yeah.
He has not made a contemporarily set film since
Departed.
No. Well, yeah, I guess The Departed. Yeah. That's I think that's it. Everything else is a period piece. I mean, people don't remember this, but Wolf of Wall Street's a period piece.
Yeah. I feel like making musicals is a very difficult thing, and not everybody can pull it off. Like, I think Spielberg's West Side Story is amazing what he did.
I think it's actually underrated.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Scorsese has such a feel for music and film, and he has famously directed multiple documentaries about music and performance. We just did one.
Yeah.
We literally just did The Last Waltz, and he did Rolling Thunder Review,
But it's a different thing when a main character who's talking suddenly starts singing. Like,
yes,
it's a weird talent to pull that off.
Yeah, and from what I know about this film, it's not a terribly realistic film. By which I mean there are a lot of set pieces. It's meant to look like an old MGM musical in a lot of ways. And frankly, at the time, nobody wanted that.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised people reacted against it. But, so it has a lot of artifice to it. And so I think that's going to be interesting. Can he pull off artifice? Because the thing is, that's not what you associate with Scorsese's filmmaking. You don't picture backlots and very stagey sort of things, and not just because you don't picture choreography either, right? As you're saying, you don't picture that way that musicals have to transition from a spoken moment to a performance.
All right, so do you think there's a cool car in this movie?
Yes.
And do you think there's an angry dad?
Yes. Maybe.
Do you think do you think that there's a love triangle?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe she gets fed up with him.
Is the Sinatra song in this?
Yeah, this is where it comes from.
Okay.
To bring it all back around, this is where that song comes from.
Is he in
So when
it?
Sinatra covered that song, no, I don't think Sinatra's in this film, but like Sinatra covered that song, and so that song has had this whole long life. Nobody has seen this film, but everybody knows this song because Sinatra did a version of it. And I find that so fascinating. Anyway, shall we go watch this movie?
Sure.
So we're recording this at 11 o'clock at night, on a work night, no less. And I have been up since 6 o'clock. And that's okay. That's okay. See, we just finished watching the film.
Yeah.
And you were immediately like, we have to go and record. And I'm like, oh, you could do it tomorrow. And you're like, no, we're doing it tonight. And I'm like, that's an interesting amount of urgency from you. And not an urgency I was expecting. So I'm going to say you liked the movie.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you compared it more favorably, I would say, to Pennies from Heaven.
Yeah. So I know you like Pennies from Heaven.
I do. I think it's great.
I think it's great too, but it's a real downer. Like it's
No.
Yes.
No, it just ends with their execution. It's fine. Yeah. Spoilers if you haven't listened to that episode. This is not as dour as Pennies from Heaven. No. But so the thing is, I was worried about it. I was like, because you certainly weren't selling it. You're like, well, it was a bomb, and you know, it's his worst movie. I'm like, okay. First of all, it's not actually his worst film. I think people think his worst film is Boxcar Bertha. This is considered really far down, and I don't think he likes this film.
But I think he doesn't like it because it didn't make a lot of money.
Well, and also because he was like, coked out of his head the whole time and barely could keep it together.
I feel that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you do kind of feel that in this movie, but not in a bad way. I think it works weirdly enough.
Mm-hmm. So I was worried about it, but then by like midway through the film, I'm like, oh, it's Scorsese. It's still Scorsese. Like, he can't make a bad film, at least at this point.
Yeah. I think this is actually like incredibly well done and so much better than what I was expecting of it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I could see why it didn't sell. Like, what are you selling here?
You're selling Liza Minnelli.
I know, but like it's at the same time, it's like it's still like a heavy. Scorsese film. Like most people can't digest this well.
It's funny you say that, and I'm not going to say you're wrong, but this movie is more or less A Star Is Born.
Yeah,
it's not quite the same. De Niro, his ending is not the same ending as A Star Is Born, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
it's definitely more a nuanced Scorsese ending.
Yes, yeah. Although, God. Is this the most loathsome character De Niro ever played? I mean, it's
up there.
It's high.
And he was an Angel Heart. He was the devil.
Yeah.
Basically playing Scorsese.
Yeah, I know. I do kind of love that detail. But no, I mean, look, this is like what 2-3 years out from Raging Bull. And, that's only like a notch above really how bad he is in this.
Yeah.
I mean, that is obviously a much worse character.
Mm-hmm.
This is not good,
Like, I think the reason why he's so despicable in this compared to other films is that, like, Liza Minnelli is such an angel, you know? Like, you just feel for her the whole time. Like,
can we talk about Liza Minnelli for a second before we get into the plot too far? Because it's very weird watching this. We get towards about the end of the film when she finally performs the song, New York, New York. The thing we've all been waiting 2 hours and 46 minutes to see. And she sings, I think, a great version of New York, New York. And my mom just kind of sits there and goes, Jesus, she's playing her mother. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, that's the whole movie.
Yeah.
They just redid A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
No, it is very weird watching this. And because I've seen her play other roles, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like, Cabaret is one of my favorite musicals of all time. And, she's great in Arthur. And I've seen her in lots of other things. I mean, all the way to Arrested Development, right? Mm-hmm. And it's weird watching this and realizing she is just playing her mom the whole time. It's a little weird. It feels almost haunted in a way that it doesn't feel healthy.
And plus, she's dating Scorsese.
Right.
During this.
Which
it really doesn't feel healthy.
Incredibly bad idea. I mean, like the whole thing feels like a very scary cover version of her own mother's life.
Yeah.
Like that's not great.
Yeah.
And as you say, like, but she's so good in this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it is very weird watching it though, and just the whole time, to the point where when you get to the happy endings sequence, which is like this big like kind of dream musical that's a take on like the old MGM kind of dream ballets and something like the Broadway melody in Singing in the Rain, for instance, and like it has these big set pieces like those old musicals, right? The MC at the end in that dream sequence, who is introducing her as like the toast of Broadway. Do you know who that was?
No.
That was Jack Handy. Do you know who Jack Handy is?
I've heard the name.
The Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Again, this film is haunted in a very weird way.
Yeah. And
it's like, if you don't know that, you're not really going to like know that. But you wouldn't go and watch this movie without probably knowing that type of stuff anyway, right? Because this is a movie made for film nerds.
And art nerds.
And art nerds, yeah, absolutely. Because, again, that happy endings piece, I mean, boy, he is borrowing... there's a lot of visuals in here that borrow from Edward Hopper paintings. Mm-hmm. I think we probably said that, with Paintings from Heaven, too, but you really feel it in this one. Yeah. Because everything is... No, but not only that, there's Magritte in here. There is a couple of things in here, especially there are these scenes set in like the woods in snow with all of these bare trees and stuff, and they all look to me like Magritte paintings. Even the way De Niro looks facing away from the camera with that slicked back hair in a suit and stuff, that's even kind of Magritte-like now that I think of it. Absolutely. Yeah. I said this is basically the Star is Born story, which for people who maybe you've only seen like the Lady Gaga version, which is good. I liked it very much. I like her in it, But that's like the fourth time I think that movie was made. It almost seems like you have to make a new one every 20 years. I think so. To reflect on what Hollywood is now. Well, it's true. I mean, the original. It was originally based on your favorite. Barbara Stanwyck. Did you know that? I had no idea. Oh no. Guess what? Uh-huh. She had a horrible first husband. She didn't have many great other ones. No, she really didn't. Yeah, so poor Stanny. I know. Barbara Stanwyck, her first husband was this guy. I'm married, Stanny, and you're dead. Yeah. But if those things weren't the case. Hey, wait a minute. Slow down here. I think I just ended up in some sort of like polyamorous relationship with you and Barbara Stanwyck's ghost. Let's do it. So listen. The original story of A Star is Born is more or less kind of a ripped from the headlines take on her marriage to this comedian Frank Foy, I guess. Anyway, the point is, there was a whole Behind the Bastards about that guy recently, and talked about how horrible a person he was, and they get into the fact that he was abusive to her and stuff, and he was an alcoholic and all the rest of that stuff. Yeah, but so the story of A Star is Born is basically he's on top of the world and he's the one who's famous and he's the one who's successful, and she's a nobody who basically gets discovered through him, and she becomes a big talent, and he kind of loses his sense of who he is and drinks himself to death. It is kind of based on her first marriage, and so they made a movie of it in like the early 30s, and I'm trying to think who starred in that. It was Frederick March and Janet Gaynor, yeah, and Frederick March, and that's great. That's it's the first version, and they made one in the 1950s with Judy Garland and James Mason, yeah. And that's also that's an incredible it's a very long movie. It's got to be like 3 hours long, and it has all these big showstopper pieces. But it's the same sort of thing where he is very successful, and she is an up and coming singer in clubs and stuff. Also, kind of a downer. Huge downer of a movie. Yeah. The story of A Star is Born is a huge bummer. When I think about this film, it seems like a lot of Douglas Sirk and just 50s downer but beautiful films. Oh, absolutely. That's basically what this is. Yeah. So that it's actually interesting to me when Scorsese veers away from that and decides to throw in the very bright and colorful and tonally different, but not, if you ask me, out of place, happy endings segment. You know, and of course then they made it in the 70s with Streisand and Christopherson, and then, you know, the one in the 2010s, I guess. Yeah. And that's kind of what's going on here to an extent. They're both kind of on the bottom when they start off. Actually, so it's not a 1-to-1. This is not A Star Is Born. You know, he is a jazz musician, and she is a singer.
Though the very, very beginning, he just gets out of the army.
Right, it's VJ Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just this whole scene of him doing pickup lines on different girls before he ends up on her.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene, I feel like, went on for about an hour and a half.
Look, I'm not saying the film doesn't need editing.
It goes on for so long and seemed like a scene from Radio Days.
Yeah.
Like it just
the Woody Allen
looked
film.
exactly the same. It looked like the same set. I was like, they're going to go up on the roof and there's going to be that big smoking sign.
Yeah.
I was like, where is this movie going? Like, if not Radio Days? Because it felt like, this is what talented boomers do. You know, eventually they do a movie about their parents and they set it in their parents' time. It all changes when he goes to his audition. And we find out he's a saxophone player, and then she suddenly sings, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
like she just goes like, oh, I'll just whip out this song, and oh man, it's incredible. It's so it's just effortless. You know how in musicals when someone sings, you're like, and now the song. I don't know. There's just something about her suddenly singing in that moment that just I don't know. It just felt.
Well, what this movie does kind of smartly is that it's a musical that still kind of it's able to make the songs work more like because they're happening in clubs. So they are, I won't go so far as to say they're diegetic, but I mean that's essentially what they are. So that it feels more natural because they are in the. It's not like watching Meet Me in St. Louis, where all of a sudden you're on a trolley and it's clang with the trolley.
Yeah.
It's not that at all, right?
And it's kind of like, like this is Scorsese. This is a guy who's famously great at using music in movies. And so it's just interesting to see how he handles a musical.
Yeah.
And in a way, he kind of doesn't. Like he's just making a movie.
Well, no, because what he's doing, he's actually doing the same thing that they do in Cabaret, in the film of Cabaret.
True.
And again, this is Candor and Ebb. Not every song in this was written by them. But they wrote like 4 songs for this. I mean, I guess like there was a script floating around, and before Scorsese even made Taxi Driver, he like jumped on it because he was like, "Oh, this is something I can do about New York, about musicals, about all kinds of." He kind of wanted to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not entirely sure how Candor and Ebb got involved in it, but. They started off writing the song New York, New York. And then somebody else wrote the screenplay, but there isn't really a screenplay. There's a story, but a lot of the dialogue is apparently improvised to a certain extent, which explains why everybody's mumbling a lot. Like, this is the original mumblecore.
Yeah.
Like, there are times where, and like, I'm not saying I wanted subtitles, but I could follow what was going on. But there were times where I'm just kind of like, wait, what exactly did they just say there? And I'm not entirely sure they know either.
Yeah.
And that gives it kind of an interesting feel, though, because there are times where the dialogue is barely there or it's overlapping. It almost feels like Robert Altman instead of Martin Scorsese, right? Because you're not expecting that from his type of stuff because you have all of these sets, right? It is very much a backlot sort of looking film in a lot of places. But then you have all this borderline naturalistic dialogue. Yeah. And all of the music is done within the context of being in nightclubs. And, again, much in the same way that they set up the film version of Cabaret. So that, it has this, it's not a completely realistic or naturalistic film. It's not documentary exactly, but you can see that's almost what he's going for at times. Like it's trying to strike this very weird balance of heightened MGM musical and film noir, sometimes almost naturalistic, like The Naked City or something.
You know what it's close to? It's close to what they were trying to do in Dick Tracy.
Okay, I have to actually watch Dick Tracy, don't I?
Well, it just in that there's so many primary colors. Like the color palette of this thing is insane. Like it's like a Spike Lee movie practically.
It is really gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are shots that are set up in this, I guess like between Scorsese and Laszlo Kovac. Is it Kovac or Kovacs?
I think Kovacs.
Kovacs. Between the two of them, there are shots in this that are just an absolute feast. Like there's a thing at the end where it's like the split diopter with like this, close up of her like doing her eye makeup or whatever, and like in the background you can see De Niro like kind of staring at her, and there's all kinds of wonderful shots in this thing.
Yeah. Like I love how when she decides to go back to New York, they're like dressed in red and green and stuff, and it's kind of like. It feels like winter because it's like Christmas or whatever, and I don't know.
So, like, there's a lot to like about this film. At the same time, like I said, De Niro is just such a loathsome person.
Yeah.
And I found that so interesting because he's basically a more realistic version of what the pushy guy in a musical always is. It's, it's so often you have like this guy in a story like this or in a musical or whatever, where like the woman is aloof or the woman's not interested and he has to charm her and he's constantly trying to charm her. And in reality, unless you charm somebody within about 5 minutes because, your personality just, it works together. I'm not saying that things have to happen immediately, but like, this guy is trying, as you said, every line in the book, and she's immediately put off by him. And, like, that's a good half hour of the movie is her physically pushing him off of her.
Yeah.
To the point that it's uncomfortable to watch.
There's a scene where she's trying to get out of a taxi, and she's, like, in the rain and trying to push him away.
And like, he keeps grabbing at her and kissing her, and, it doesn't play as romantic at all.
I don't think Fred Astaire would do that. Though he does have kind of the same personality.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they're basically taking one of those old movies, like an Astaire and Rogers film, but they're saying, like, in reality, this guy would be a jerk and a creep, and you would not like this.
It's like if you knew Kramer.
Yes. You don't want to know Kramer in real life.
Kramer or Homer or Bender, Archie Bunker.
No, we know too many Archie Bunkers in real life, honey. But no, I mean, I that's kind of what I like about this is that, this is what that kind of guy would actually be like. To the point where, like I said earlier, he actually, I'm not entirely sure if I said it earlier or if that was in like the take that we forgot to record. He's never abusive in the idea of slapping her around, right? That isn't a thing that happens. Like they have a pretty ugly fight in a car at one point, but that's the only time where there's any type of intentional hitting, right?
Yeah. But this is De Niro at the height of his powers.
Yeah.
Like the De Niro you think of, and like even his pauses feel like violence.
Yeah, like there's just a constant menace with him.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. I mean, this is the same. This is the era of like Taxi Driver and The Godfather Part 2 and like all of that.
Even the scene where she signs the deal to become I think she's signing with Decca or something.
Yeah.
And he says, "That's fine. That sounds good." And he walks away, and then you're like, he's gonna come back and like destroy everyone, isn't he?
Right.
So you have no idea what he's going to do, and then there's a scene where he's on the phone, and it's like purple and yellow on each side, so it's like duality, whatever. But
but yeah, like there's a scene where he's on the phone and he looks quite upset, and I keep thinking, well, I'm picturing him like smashing the phone receiver because I've seen that scene.
You've
It's
seen
like
that scene.
It's interesting to watch this movie, and it's not that he never explodes, and it's not that he's never physically aggressive. But it's interesting in how it is played, right? So that there is a scene where he like gets very aggressive in trying to rehearse with the band, and she's trying to sing along, and like basically this is a rehearsal that's just not working, and they're all very tired. And you're kind of waiting to see, like, is he gonna like slap her or something? And no, instead he goes and like rips a couple of tables and flips him over. Like, he never physically takes out his aggression on her in that way. That doesn't mean the relationship isn't abusive.
Yeah.
He's very controlling and he's very obsessive about her, right? And it's I don't think he ever like puts her down exactly or says that she's stupid or anything like that. It's not that kind of a thing, but there's a real sense of, as you say, there's just this sort of menace of, look, I'm the man, I'm in charge. The thing is, I don't know that was actually like unusual for the time period anyway, right? It's
There's probably a lot of proposals like this proposal.
Right. Yeah.
One of the worst proposals, marriage proposals ever. But.
Oh my God, it is really bad, right? Because, so like, they do eventually like kind of take up with a traveling big band. She does end up falling for him, which, I mean, again, that happens. Even when a guy is a jerk, somehow like it happens a lot where women kind of do get won over in a weird way, and like I don't know how to unpack that.
It seems like every like lady singer.
Oh, that God.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing about this movie is like this terrible relationship. This is so representative.
Yeah. Because there were scenes when I was looking at her, I'm like, that's Amy Winehouse right there.
Wow.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like she could have done this whole movie.
Oh, God. Now there's a thought.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't think people in 1977 would have watched this looking for a musical, and I don't know what they would have how they would have walked away from this, right? How they would have felt watching this.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they didn't like it very much. It doesn't have the kind of same payoff of something like A Star Is Born, where the guy essentially like martyrs himself as recompense for standing in her way. So they have this whole relationship. They do end up getting married, and it's a terrible proposal where they're basically she's sitting there, and I forget what she says to him.
Oh, he reads one of her poems.
Oh, that's right. She wrote a poem about him, and he's like, "This is just about me, right? Yeah, this is about you. This is not about anybody else." No, and you're worried that he's gonna like slap her or something because he assumes that she's been like, cheating on him or something. And he says, "Get your coat. Get your shoes on. We're going." And you're just going, oh man, what the hell is he going to do to her? And it turns out he drives her out to a justice of the peace.
Smashes their window by accident. It may even just have been by accident.
I know, yeah. and basically kind of makes her get married. And, she rightly says, hey, I kind of assumed like a normal wedding was good, if I was ever going to get married. And he does this whole dramatic thing of, like, all right, you know what? She tells the cab driver, run over me, and he lays down in front of the wheels and says, all right, back up.
Go.
And I mean, it's terrible, but it is kind of funny. They end up getting married. And again, yeah, as you said, this is so... the thing that happened to a lot of women singers, right?
You know what he is? He's like those nerds that feel like because they're so smart, they're the victim or something.
Yeah.
Nobody gets them, like they're the victim, and so they deserve everything.
Yeah, and the thing is, the character is a very talented musician.
Yeah.
And he can write songs. And he is a talented band leader. And that's the thing. It's not like this is a guy who doesn't have any talent. Mm-hmm. This is not just a guy who is sort of a leech on her, getting all of his success through her. That's not what's happening. He has his own talent. He has his own success.
I don't think he could even picture it being forever. He talks about, like, he wants three things. He wants music, money, and... sex, or sex at the time is what he says, but love, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he says, but if you come with me, maybe I'll switch the order. But
yeah.
But so he wants these three things. But even when he says money, he's like, and enough money to get by. Like he can't even picture like actually having like a stable income. Like,
yeah.
He's like, because he's always like wheeling and dealing and not giving people what they want, and it's just, I don't know, it's a very Chuck Berry existence. But
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
one detail I liked was that she had that producer, and he says like, I just want you to give me a cigarette, to celebrate the thing. And he's like, I don't have a cigarette. And immediately after that, he does a sax solo, and he's got a cigarette on the sax burning. It's all kinds of little details like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I bounce around a lot.
No. See, it's okay that you bounce around a lot. because it's not that this film doesn't have a plot. It does, but it is pretty loosey-goosey, right? And until you know, without having those musical numbers, it does sort of meander. It is very much just kind of, here's this relationship, here's why it's obviously very toxic, and you know, we're basically just waiting for the moment it finally falls apart. They get married, and then she gets pregnant, and she's like, look, I want to go back to New York, I don't want to lose the baby, being on the road like this is terrible. You know, it's still like probably the late 40s. I wouldn't want to be on a tour bus while pregnant in the late 40s. Come on, those things don't even have air conditioning or heat. What do you know, absolutely not. So she's just like, look, I want to go back to New York, you know, if we're going to have this baby, whatever. This is kind of like one of the big breakdowns, you know, in the relationship. She goes back. He obviously starts cheating on her. He does end up like leaving the band and coming back. In fact, he actually sells the band to the piano player. Comes back. You know, he keeps, I guess, trying to make a go of this relationship that I don't even know how much he thinks he really wants. Yeah, so she's basically being offered, you know, essentially a contract to be a star, and you think he's going to flip out and reject it, and he doesn't. He uses it as a way to push away from her anyway, right? They have this fight in the car, and she goes into labor. He sees her in the hospital and then basically just walks out of her life. Like, he can't handle the idea that he has to be a father and he's supposed to be a husband. And so basically that's the end.
He doesn't want to see the kid.
Yeah, nothing. That breakup transitions into happy endings. I find it interesting the happy endings is not in the theatrical cut. So we're watching this movie with other people, and they were like, wait, why is this? What is going on here? Because, again, most of this film has been fairly naturalistic. As I said, it does feel more like noir than anything. All of the musical scenes are in nightclubs, so that they are essentially diegetic. And now, all of a sudden, we transition to Liza Minnelli singing the song Happy Endings. But, like, it starts off like she's singing this other song, like
some guy or that, I don't know.
I can't remember what song now. But
it's like Looking for Prince Charming or something.
It transitions into essentially like one of these dream ballets, like a musical from the 50s. So it's all very artificial. People sitting in chairs and like these painted sets. It looks a little bit like Guys and Dolls. It looks like Singing in the Rain. The Broadway Melody section. It looks like.
Well, I see where your mom got confused because, like, within the movie, she has a dream about a guy, and then it happens. It happens again, and.
Well, that's,
There's that repeated scene where this guy drops this glove. He turns out he's a producer, and
we, the audience, are watching a sequence that represents the type of movies that then she goes on to make, and it's all kind of smashed together into this one presentation called Happy Endings. So she ends up becoming the star of movie musicals in the 1950s. She basically becomes Judy Garland. And so we have all these little clips of these different musical numbers, and it is this big, splashy MGM sets and costumes, and like there's one scene set in a cafe, and it looks like, you know, the one scene from the Singing in the Rain and whatnot, and you know, but there's a lot of stuff in there, like American in Paris and all that type of, you know. It's a huge, very weird thing watching it though, because this is Judy Garland's daughter basically playing her mother. Like, it's so weird. I love it, but it's weird.
And the thing is, she's amazing. Like she's
great.
She sings amazing. She looks amazing. Like, but I feel like the reason why like we don't count her or like she's not remembered the same way as like all the other famous stars is that it's so weird that she's doing this. I don't know.
And the thing is, like, I don't think that's fair to hold her that against her, because she does so many other she, you know, like,
I know, but also she's doing this at a time when movies are not doing this anymore. Yeah, I mean, you do have to see this movie in light of a bunch of other kind of weird throwbacks, right? You know, the 70s were full of these types of throwbacks to older films. The 70s, but then you go into the 80s and they were doing the same thing, right? And by which I mean going for either Depression era or maybe, you know, late 40s musicals. You know, we brought up a couple already, but then, you know, in the 80s you also had like kind of the return of the screwball comedy, right? So you had like a lot of these boomers basically making, as you said, films that reflect more the style of the films that their parents were watching, right? And then when you and a lot of times kind of missing it, you know, like it just
sometimes,
feels
but sometimes not, you know. I don't know. I mean, when do you think they were missing it?
Well, I mean, like not so much missing it, but like it can't help but be 80s-ish.
Well, yeah. I mean, sure, because they're being
like
made.
it's not like Holdovers.
No,
which
no,
just
no.
felt like a movie from the time period it was trying to be.
The Holdovers is such a weird. I love the Holdovers so much, but that is kind of a very singular sort of thing.
Yeah.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they're always still, even if they have the rhythms of a 1930s or 40s comedy, they're still made in the 80s, and you can feel that. Right?
I mean, like Trading Places, it's
perfect example.
It's not. I mean, it is a 30s comedy, but it's
Yeah.
If you showed it in the 30s, people would be baffled.
Well, they'd be baffled because why are they letting this black guy get all the good lines? I mean, what are we doing here? Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so what's weird about this whole thing though is so you have all this evocation of MGM musicals and whatnot, and you're having Judy Garland's daughter do it.
Yeah.
And it's weird. The sets, it's interesting, like she's dressed as a movie usher, and I couldn't help but think of like those Hopper paintings of people going to the movies, and I'm sure that's exactly what they're trying to evoke here, and all the other kind of musicals and stuff.
You could see him with a Hopper book and pointing and saying, "I want that! I want that!"
Exactly.
Very excitedly, and then moving on to like 700 other things.
So we have this whole very splashy sequence, and then that transitions to De Niro in a movie theater watching what's essentially the movies of his ex-wife. And, he's basically a jazz hipster, and he rolls his eyes at them. He's above all this stuff.
Yeah. He
has his, club, and they're playing bebop, essentially, in there towards the end. He's above all this stuff. So he goes and decides to go and see his ex-wife, Francine, Liza Minnelli, at this theater that she is performing at because she's come back to New York. She's a big star, and it's a big deal because she's basically going to be on Broadway. That's when we get that final sequence of Liza Minnelli singing New York, New York. And it's great. I mean, it makes me want to go and watch Liza with a Z, that's sort of the obvious thing to, obviously after watching this, I'm like, oh, I really want to watch that. And so we have this big splashy musical number. And my sister said, that's where you can end the film. I said, okay, first of all, let's let the film play out. But second of all, no, that's not where they end it. I mean, you could end it there. You could end it with just him watching her on stage, and that's it. But I like what they actually do. Instead, they have them meet afterwards backstage, and she's of course got like a million people around her, and it's a huge deal and everything. She's a huge star, and he comes in, and he's very awkward about the whole thing, and he's a bit snide about all of that, and he doesn't really like that she wrote these lyrics to this song that he wrote, because in the film he wrote to New York, New York, but he wrote it as a jazz piece, and now she's doing it as a big brassy song and everything. Yeah. And he acknowledges his son. I mean, it's not like he hasn't kept up with, the kid, and he apparently sent him, drum kit and stuff. And so, like, the kid knows who his father is. So, it's not like they have no contact, right? So it's interesting that's, a detail in here. And I think that's more realistic, than a more Hollywood idea of, like, this is the first time you're seeing your son. Like, no, they're not doing anything like that.
Yeah.
And I like the way this film, it's obviously an homage to these old films and these older styles, but at the same time it plays everything as realistically as it possibly can in terms of the emotional, truth of what people do to each other. He sneaks out and then calls her from a payphone outside and says, hey, you want to come out and meet me and get some Chinese? And she's got all these people there, and it's still the whole after party, and she says, yes, yeah. And this is this is the end of the film. This is great. She goes downstairs and she's like looking right at the exit. And it's funny that the exit, that's the only scene in the entire film that looked like a modern like doorway. Mm-hmm. And because it's just like, it's a lit up exit sign and everything. And, everything else in this film is intentionally heightened, and it's all very 1940s, and it's all very, old Hollywood or old New York, and it's constantly trying to evoke these older styles or these, like, almost surreal sets and whatnot. And then all of a sudden she's downstairs in this hallway, atrium or whatever, exit this building, and it just looks like she's in a hallway in 1977. And she just kind of looks and decides, no. It's just like a spell is broken. It's so weird watching this. And like for that moment, when you see that exit sign and it looks like a modern, just hallway, and the film breaks a spell. And she shakes her head and goes back upstairs. And she doesn't go and meet him on the street.
But it's great the color of that scene because like he's down in the street looking up at the exit door, and he's like in the red light and everything. Like he's
it's all very romantic lighting.
Yeah, well,
romance with a capital R.
Yeah,
not like love romance. I mean more in the sense of it's Hollywood lighting.
Yeah, but at the same time, like he's in the gutter.
Yeah,
he's still in the gutter kind of thing because he likes being in the gutter. But and then
it's where he belongs.
She's in this like bright hallway, and she gets into an elevator, and the doors close, and he just walks away back into the sewers with his
closed umbrella.
Teenage ninja friends. Yeah, closed umbrella.
And but no, he's carrying this closed umbrella and it's raining. And you have this moment of, is he going to break into like is this some sort of singing in the rain thing? And again, I think this is Scorsese saying the spell is broken.
Yeah.
It's 1977. I don't know if you can do these big musicals anymore.
Right.
And that's the end of the film. There's no big musical number. There's nothing. This is it. He walks away. She goes back upstairs. It's not 1952 or whatever. It is 1977.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
And now we have Fat De Niro looking in the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically where we are going next. Yeah.
Rehearsing his lines.
I find it interesting that this film is a failure.
Well,
I don't think it is.
You know what it could have used?
What?
Thelma Schumacher.
Yes.
This was before her.
Yeah, that's right. They hadn't worked together again.
Yeah, I think like they had worked on like Woodstock.
They worked on Woodstock, yeah.
She started. I think she may have started with Raging Bull or something, but like 2 hours and 43 minutes is pretty long.
Yeah, no. He absolutely needed an editor, and thank God she came back into his life. I mean, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, like I've heard Annie Hall was kind of compiled, through editing.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of the same. It's like you can see like what a talented director can do. At the same time, it just everything felt really long in the beginning. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but I feel like it's definitely like probably cost an audience.
It's interesting. This is very much like a bunch of other films, obviously, and it references other films. But one thing that struck me is the film. I kept thinking about two other films that came after this, much longer after this, and how much those films are not this. Okay, so one, and you brought up La La Land.
Oh yeah.
La La Land, I think, owes a lot to this, and I liked that movie actually.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a very long time though, so I don't know if my opinion would change now. When I saw it in the theater, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But that guy made another film, Babylon. And I hate Babylon. But Babylon has something in common with this because they're both movies about old movies, right? But Damien Chazelle, or whatever his name is, I'm sorry, that guy's a hack. Look, even Martin Scorsese at his most messy and coked out and incoherent in this film as he is, still a better filmmaker than Damien Chazelle.
Yeah.
I'm so, I hate Babylon so much. Even when I like the actors in that movie, and I do, Margot Robbie is great in that movie, and I don't like that movie. But anyway,
Brad Pitt's in that, right?
Yeah, and he's also I think he's good in it.
He's good as an ensemble.
He is.
Guy.
Yeah. But I'm still mad at that movie. But that movie, I think, is sort of like another failed version of this.
I never really thought about it before, but a lot of Bill Pullman characters, I feel like, are deliberately trying to be like De Niro from this period.
What?
Like
Bill Pullman?
I mean, Bill Pullman in what's it called? David Lynch films.
Bill Pullman in David Lynch films.
He's in that Lost Highway.
Oh, see, I never saw Lost Highway.
Yeah.
So you're talking over my head.
But just his look, like there were scenes of of De Niro was like, I think Bill Pullman's trying to do this.
Oh, okay. So this is something I don't. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to see that. I never saw. I was always intimidated by Lost Highway.
Yeah,
right.
but even Zero Effect, I feel like has a little bit. But I love Zero Effect.
I know, but I don't think that relates at all.
I think it's the same film.
I'm going to cut this.
See, watch Zero Effect, everyone. Zero Effect.
So that was New York, New York, starring Liza Minnelli, Robert De Niro, Lionel Stander, Barry Primus, Mary Kay Place. Who else was in this? Dick Miller. Oh, Dick Miller was in this.
Clarence Clemens.
Clarence Clemens is in this. Yes. And
Yes, that Clarence Clemens.
yeah. Yeah, I know. It was so great seeing him. Casey Kasem shows up at one point. That was kind of funny. He plays a DJ, of course.
It's always weird to watch him actually talk. You know, you're so used to his voice. I mean, he's Shaggy, but
Well, that's true.
but yeah, like just I don't know, seeing him, I'm like, oh, that's right, he exists as a person.
Did you never listen to America's Top 40?
I guess, but I didn't watch it.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Okay. Written by Earl MacRausch and Mardick Martin, and directed by Martin Scorsese, with music from Josh Kander and Frank Ebb.
I do want to say, like, it's very weird, like, as the film is going on and they start writing the song New York, New York. I just feel like I grew up with this film. I didn't know, or this song.
Mm-hmm.
I never really thought about, there was a time when that song didn't exist or something.
I know. It's so weird. And then it became like Sinatra's big standard.
Yeah.
And it's weird realizing how late that happened. That wasn't until, that was 1980.
Yeah.
So my entire life, I think of this as this old song because it's Frank Sinatra. And it turns out I was already alive when he recorded it, and it became like his signature song. I first of all, I don't like the implication that I'm old, but there you go. No, it is sort of weird. Like, it's just at that point for both of us where we just assumed the song had been around forever because it was Sinatra singing it.
Yeah.
And Sinatra's not even of my parents' generation of music. It's my grandparents' generation of music,
Yeah.
right? You're going back so far that, like, yeah, it's kind of like wild just how long his career was.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And plus, like, that period of his career, like, that's like 70s kind of reemergence of like these kind of slow ballads and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like he was like creating nostalgia or something. It's like even the songs the new songs he was doing just felt old immediately.
All right. Well, you can, of course, follow us on social media. We are Mary VS Movies on all of your major platforms. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Tumblr, pretty much everything. You can always find all that stuff at our website, maryvsmovies.com. We are on all of your major platforms where you can rate and review the show. We're on Apple Podcasts, where you can rate and review us. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We are on, I don't know, I guess you can just plug our RSS feed into whatever your podcatcher of choice is and listen to us that way. We, of course, have a Patreon where you can help support the show for $3 a month. You can help pay for, the stuff that we do, because what we do actually does cost money, between renting, server space and Zoom account and like all kinds of stuff. It costs money to do this. Plus, we put a lot of work into it. So if you want to help support the show, $3 a month, patreon.com/MaryVSMovies. And if you do that, you get access to our whole other show, Hollywood Avalon, where we watch Arthurian movies. And we just watched Gawain and the Green Knight, which is like yet another version of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. But we've also watched Bugs Bunny cartoons. We've watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. We've watched First Knight.
MacGyver.
We watched a MacGyver episode. I just found out that there is a whole arc of like Stargate SG-1 that we can watch, and Stargate Atlantis and stuff like that. There's all kinds of things that we are going to watch at some point and haven't gotten to. We still haven't done Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We're going to do it at some point. Been kind of holding off, but we've done Excalibur, we did Knight Riders. If you want to listen to us talk about Arthurian media, sign up for that, because that's how you can hear it on the Patreon. I'm sorry, I'm very tired and it's midnight and I'm kind of losing my steam here. I know you're a night owl, but I'm dying.
Let's watch another one.
I'm going to kill you. No, we are not going to do that. All right. I'm not sure what our next movie is because I'm tired and I don't have any clue what our next movie is. So hopefully soon we're going to actually have a guest on. So maybe we'll have that set up or not. I don't know.
Cool.
Anyway, that's great. In the meantime, until next week.
I made a lot of mistakes, so I'll make another one. This one's on me.